Welcome to our guide on how to save while paying off major debt. Today, we'll walk through a realistic, step-by-step framework to stay stable, complete your repayment plan, and still make smart moves for your future. We'll begin with a big-picture mindset, then move into clear priorities, practical examples, and optimization tactics. Finally, we'll test your knowledge with a quick quiz and wrap up with key takeaways. Let's start by setting expectations and introducing a quick disclaimer before we dive into the plan. Recovering from debt while trying to save and invest can feel like a constant balancing act. The objective today is to help you prioritize correctly so you maintain stability, meet required payments, and still lay a foundation for future growth. To set a safe and practical tone, let's add a brief disclaimer next. Before we proceed, please note that this content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Your situation may differ, so consider consulting a qualified professional for tailored recommendations. With that in place, let's preview what we'll cover today. Here is today's roadmap. First, we will establish priority zero stability and free money. Next, we will build your emergency foundation. Then, we'll tackle the controversial stretch around scaling back non-matched investments. After that, we'll optimize expenses to increase your buffer, walk through a case study, and visualize everything with diagrams. Finally, we'll test your understanding with a couple of quick quizzes and summarize key takeaways. Let's start with Priority Zero. Priority Zero is about stability and free money. First, ensure all required debt payments are made on time. Completing your repayment plan comes before everything else. Next, if your employer offers a retirement match, contribute enough to capture the full match, because it is effectively a guaranteed return. Then, if you are eligible for a health savings account, contribute because it carries a triple tax advantage: pre-tax contributions, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses. With those pillars in place, we will move to the emergency foundation to protect your plan from unexpected expenses. A $0 savings account is risky when you are under a strict repayment plan. Build an initial emergency fund of $1,000 to $3,000 in a high-yield savings account to absorb small surprises. This prevents minor issues from snowballing into missed payments and penalties. If your budget feels tight, prioritize contributions to this emergency fund over any non-matched investments until you regain stability. Next, we will discuss the controversial stretch, knowing when to pause non-matched investing to protect your stability. This flowchart maps the recommended order of operations. You begin with required debt payments to ensure the plan stays on track. Then you check for an employer match. If available, you contribute enough to get the full match. Next, you check HYSA eligibility. If eligible, you contribute due to its tax benefits. After these, you build an initial emergency fund of $1,000 to $3,000. You then focus on optimizing expenses to increase your cash buffer. Finally, once you graduate from your repayment plan, you expand your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses and accelerate your investing across vehicles like Roth IRAs and taxable brokerage accounts. Up next, let's address why trying to do everything at once can backfire. A common mistake is attempting to invest aggressively while you barely have any cash buffer left at month end. If your remaining buffer after bills and required debt payments is only around 5% of your net income, the risk of burnout and unexpected shortfalls increases. In this situation, it is prudent to temporarily scale back non-matched investments, like Roth IRA contributions, until you complete your initial emergency fund and then work toward a fuller 3 to 6 month reserve. The practical and psychological benefits of liquidity often surpass small, early investment gains. Next, we will compare stability-focused actions against growth-focused actions so you can see the trade-offs clearly. On the stability side, the must-do items are making required debt payments, capturing the employer match, building the initial $1,000 to $3,000 emergency buffer, and reducing fixed costs to create breathing room. On the growth side, Roth IRA and taxable investing are appropriate after your short-term buffer is funded and you are working toward 3 to 6 months of expenses. Extra principal prepayments and lifestyle upgrades come later, ideally after you graduate from the plan and your foundation is secure. With priorities contrasted, let's look at a sample budget table to make this concrete. This table illustrates a hypothetical allocation of net income. Fixed expenses consume a large portion and should be trimmed where possible. Required debt payments reflect plan obligations and are non-negotiables. Contributing to your 401k up to the employer match is prioritized. If eligible, HSA contributions are included for tax advantages. A portion goes to a high-yield savings account for the emergency fund until the initial goal is met. Minimum non-matched investing may be paused if your buffer is thin. Discretionary spending remains but can be reduced during the plan to accelerate stability. Now, let's translate this into action with specific optimization steps. To free up cash flow, start by auditing every fixed expense. Contact insurance providers to negotiate rates or adjust deductibles if appropriate. Consider moving to a lower-cost phone plan through an MVNO. If possible, reduce housing costs through downsizing or sharing. Automate both your minimum debt payments and transfers to the high-yield savings account to prevent missteps. Finally, redirect any savings from these optimizations directly into your emergency buffer. With optimizations underway, let's bring this to life with a quick case study. Consider a person with $3,500 in monthly net income. Fixed expenses plus required debt payments total $3,150, leaving $350 or 10% as a buffer. If this person tries to contribute $300 to a Roth IRA and $100 to the emergency fund, they risk shortfalls when minor expenses arise. A better approach is to pause the Roth IRA temporarily. Allocate $300 to the emergency fund and trim discretionary spending by $50. This approach builds the emergency fund to $1,000 to $3,000 in roughly 4 to 10 months, after which they can reinstate Roth contributions. To visualize allocations, let's look at a pie chart next. This pie chart presents a sample allocation. Almost half goes to fixed essentials, 1/5 to required debt payments, and small slices to the 401k match and HSA. A meaningful portion is directed to the HYSA to build the emergency buffer. Non-matched investing may be set to a small percentage or temporarily paused, while discretionary spending fills the remainder. With the allocations illustrated, let's check your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. Which action is considered non-negotiable free money and should be prioritized even during strict repayment? Option A. Employer retirement match contributions. Option B. Roth IRA contributions. Option C. Crypto investing. Option D. Extra principal payments beyond the plan. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is employer retirement match contributions. Capturing the match provides an immediate return and should be prioritized even during strict repayment. Next, let's try a second question to reinforce the emergency fund guidance. Second question. What is the recommended initial emergency fund target in a high-yield savings account while under a strict repayment plan? Option A. $0. Just invest. Option B. $200. Option C. $1,000 to $3,000. Option D. 12 months of expenses. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is $1,000 to $3,000. This initial buffer helps you avoid derailing your repayment plan due to small, unexpected expenses. With the fundamentals reinforced, let's look ahead at a timeline from repayment to wealth building. This timeline portrays a practical progression. In the first month, you stabilize payments and capture any employer match. Over the next several months, you build a $1,000 to $3,000 emergency fund, contribute to the HSA if eligible, and optimize bills. As you approach plan completion, you expand the emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses. After graduating the plan, you accelerate investing across Roth IRAs and taxable accounts and consider additional principal payments and selective lifestyle upgrades. Now, let's crystallize the most important ideas. The key takeaways are as follows. First, stability comes first. Make all required payments and capture the employer match. Second, use an HSA if eligible due to its tax benefits. Third, build an initial emergency fund of $1,000 to $3,000 and consider pausing non-matched investing if you are stretched. Fourth, optimize fixed costs aggressively to expand your buffer. Finally, after you graduate from the plan, expand your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months and accelerate your investing. Next, we will summarize and close out with a call to action. In summary, follow the sequence. Make required payments, capture the employer match, contribute to the HSA if eligible, build your initial HYSA buffer, optimize expenses, Graduate from your plan, expand your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months, and then accelerate investing. Avoid attempting everything at once. Protecting cash flow prevents burnout. Focus on discipline rather than deprivation. Finally, let's close with a quick thank you and a call to action. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who needs a calm plan for financial recovery, and subscribe for more practical guides. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your progress. Tell us in the comments what step you are taking this week and what topic you want next.